All right. Welcome, Alex. Are you ready?
Sure.
Please go ahead.
Hi. My name is Alex Nascimento. It's a pleasure to be here. Um, a little bit of my background story is that I co-founded the UCLA Blockchain Lab, which is now blockchain at UCLA. Currently, more than 400 student strong organization that goes cross campus at UCLA, researching and studying and building a community around a variety of topics relating to blockchain technology. Um, at UCLA and at our private company, which is an investment asset management and consulting company, we focus on security tokens and tokenization basics. And an overview of today is what we're going to chat about. Let me see. Present to audience. No. Share screen. Window. Here. Share. I hope everyone can see my screen. It's the index of the presentation. Not really sure if you guys can see it or not because I do not get a feedback here. Maybe someone could give me a feedback if it's working or not. Let me just see. Okay. There's 62 people here. Just want to make sure that you guys see it. Yes, we can see it. Fantastic. All right. So we're going to talk about, don't want to preach to the choir, but just make sure that everybody on this call feels the same. We're going to talk a little bit about smart contracts, difference between ICOs and STOs, benefits of a security token, asset classification framework in key markets, and historical transactions, as well as what we're seeing this going through, right? Like I said, my name is Alex. I'm a blockchain faculty at UCLA and managing director of 7CC Blockchain Investments. At the end, I'll give you guys a free code to our STO Financial Revolution book, which is available on Amazon, but you can download it for free with the code I'm going to give you. So, well, actually, not at the end, right here. You can go to this website, the STO Financial Revolution, put on a promo code STO book-DG, all caps, and you can get the book. This slide will be also at the end of the presentation. So what we do, we invest in STO projects and blockchain projects. We provide research and educational products, and we advise investors and companies about opportunities in the blockchain industry. Disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer, so this is not legal advice. Please look for a lawyer at your local jurisdiction. So we all know about smart contracts and how smart contracts can benefit a variety of transactions, but you want to think about a security token as an investment contract. So there's all these different benefits of a smart contract, making sure that an investment contract, like the different shares you have on DigiShares, are much more efficient, including safety, trust, speed, the ability of having multiple backups, accuracy because of the software, and savings because it significantly helps transaction costs. And savings is really, in my opinion, what has been driving this industry. Because if you think of a bank like Goldman Sachs, they can run about maybe $6 to $10 billion a year on back office costs. And that can be significantly reduced by smart contracts. Our story started before there was a difference between ICOs and STOs. In January 2018, or very early 2018, the SEC, which is the Securities Exchange Commission here in the United States, came out and said that every initial coin offering was an unregulated offering of a securities. And because the SEC commands about or regulates about 40% of the global market, not because it's an international organization, but just because that volume of the equities and bond market is traded in the US, uh, the market kind of halted. And it's what I think started crypto winter. Um, so not only as an investment firm, but also as a university, we decided that we were going to research how to do this in a regulated point of view. And that's where the line divides the sand here. A utility token, as we all on this call must know, it's something that gives you access. A security token is any kind of investment contract that should be regulated, or an investment contract represented on the blockchain. I like to use the metaphor like utility tokens give you access like Disney dollars. Security tokens are an investment like Disney stock. The key benefits of such a security token are a significant cost and reduction, like we already said, possibility of automated revenue sharing. The people get shocked when I mentioned that in the United States, only about 3,000 companies pay dividends. That's mainly because it's so costly to pay dividends. There's an opportunity for startup fundraising. Security tokens have a much lower risk of redemption because you can code them into it. There's advantages of secondary liquidity, the 24/7 market, and obviously facilitation of tracking of ownership, which happened in 2008 at the mortgage-backed securities crisis in the United States. Nobody knew who was actually holding the bag, and with a security token, that would be really easy to do. Here's a little bit of a framework that I recommend people to take a look. We have different jurisdictions on one side, on the y-axis, and different types of tokens on the x-axis, or the reverse. Sorry. So I think that the idea here is to really show that different jurisdictions see these tokens in different ways, or these different formats in different ways. And therefore, highly recommendation of not only getting legal counsel at the jurisdiction you're issuing the token, but also get legal counsel at every jurisdiction you are promoting the token, right? So if you're onboarding a Singaporean investor, make sure you have legal counsel in Singapore and so forth, with Switzerland, Cayman. We do a lot of work in Cayman, Singapore, and Switzerland, and obviously the United States. Here's a historical transaction of this journey that we've been through, right? Back in July 2017, we were already in the space, and then there was all these different conversations going on about the Dow scandal and the Munchie, which brought the SEC to define that every ICO could potentially be a security token offering, unregulated. But then we saw Bitcoin becoming a commodity. We saw props and Blockstack being the first, at least in the United States, fully public token offering being approved by the SEC under the Reg A+. It's important for people to understand that are not in the United States that the legal framework of issuing a security token in the United States was something that is based on the Obama's administration Jobs Act, which is the jumpstart of our Business Act, which allows startups to raise money, issue securities with various exemptions that minimize bureaucracy. We move forward into the OCC, coming out and being more flexible again with crypto assets. The SEC then, in September of 2020, establishes an improvement process for digital assets. We're now seeing Binance enter the space, and most recently, Taurus in Switzerland received a license to issue and transact STOs. Some of the problems in the liquidity still in this market is the lack of liquidity and unclear international regulation of how securities can mingle cross-border. I think that we're still a few years ahead, behind of having a universal or global securities international law. That has not been in the history books since ever, and I don't think we're very close to it. But on the other side, we have 70 trillion of global equities, 92 trillion of bonds, and 4.1 billion users on the internet, which might not have access to these financial products. If you don't believe in me, here's a recommendation. A couple of different notes and news. You have REIT BZ from Brazil issuing the first world's security real estate trust transaction, or REIT, that pays out dividends. NASDAQ now has a full-fledged solution of security tokens, and security tokens are now reaching a record high, an all-time high of 700 million market cap. Here are some of the case studies. I'm just flashing it through so we can get to the end of the presentation and the allotted time. You have the Cent Regis as a case study. You have now Pix in Brazil, which is decentralized ledger technology that connects all the players, including retail clients, to financial institutions and even people that were in the margins of the economy. You have T0 in the US, which is the major security token exchange. You have services like Polymath, R3 Corridor, SDX in Switzerland, Quorum, and NASDAQ on the other side. Here's a little bit of institutional adoption. We went all the way from Tezos becoming a blockchain that was really focused on security tokens. We have JP Morgan being much more flexible into their views into crypto. You have Silvergate, which is now a publicly traded bank in the US. And JP Morgan, May of this year, offering or telling that they're going to offer Bitcoin products to clients, and Multicoin Capital raising up $100 million. So it's definitely an institutional play, and a lot of money going into that direction. What we think the future is STO financing, exchange listings, and more marketplaces going live. There's a series of marketplaces filing for licenses in the US, a much higher liquidity and market cap, and new regulation. If I would look at a security token potential, I would say it's in the basis of Amara's law, right? We tend to overestimate the effects of the technology in the short run and underestimate the effects of it in the long run. In my view, security tokens are really the true financial beacon of evolution here, and potentially every future financial product will be a security token. Little piece of advice: I would avoid various problems if you focus on reporting protocols that control the number of security token holders you have for your issuance, and that you get legal counsel not only at the place you're issuing, like let's say Cayman, Singapore, but at every other jurisdiction where you're trading. Again, this is my name, email. Here's a link to the book and a code for you to get the book for free. And I think we're at the top of the 15 minutes for this workshop, if I'm not mistaken. And I can answer questions if anyone might have one.
Hello. So we have some questions in the Q&A. We have a question from Eric. He's saying, "Hi, Alex. Can one tokenize 1, intellectual property, 2, Kyoto Protocol carbon credits, and 3, equity in private technology companies, say neobank entering new geography? I thank you, Eric Kadoyrov."
Eric, thank you for your question. Yes, you could tokenize those together. You could make a wrapper if you wish of a bundle of those securities, or you could make one for each. Certainly, I think that the way to think about this, and that's what I tell many high-level executives at financial institutions that do corporate education via UCLA, is that you can do basically anything you already do in the traditional world, right? The security token is a digital representation of a paper and pen contract. When you buy a security at NASDAQ or at a Swiss digital exchange, what you're buying is an investment contract between those parties. And NASDAQ has been having those digital representations of those contracts for decades.
Very good answer. Eric, if you would like to elaborate, you can write in the Q&A again. Then we have a question from Alok, and he's asking, which current tokenization protocol, if any, do you think will become the standard protocol going forward?
It's a very good question. It's almost $1 billion question, but I'll try to address it. We believe that there is a lot of money locked on Ethereum, and the cost of churning that money is going to keep Ethereum for the foreseeable future as the main protocol, right? With REIT-BZ, which was one of the first global security tokens to be issued, we learned that although you ERC 1400, which is the protocol that most security tokens use, because there's more information about the buyer and that token, is the go-to protocol for security tokens. But you could issue a security token on a regular ERC20, because what matters for a security token is your name on the cap table of that institution, organization, company, right? And holding the security, it's kind of like holding a bear share, or holding a security token is kind of holding a bear share in the old 80s, where you had that beautiful, thing you could frame and have your name on it. But really what you need is to have your name on the cap table.
Yeah, I think that was a good response. Alok, if you have anything you would like to have elaborated on, please write us in here. Then we have several people who are asking us, will you please, Alex, go to the chat and send a link for the book that you are talking about?
Sure. Just that the promo code is missing a dash.
All right, so now everybody should be able to access it. Next question is, can LPs of a private equity real estate investment issue a security token on their LP ownership, for example, in a building in LA? An LA developer is asking.
Yeah, that is a very good question. I was going to say consult your local jurisdiction, but I am from LA, so I can about it. Yes, you could. What you would have to do is do a separate LLC where you would put all the different partners and their stake in that building in a different company, and then tokenize that company. I'll give you an example. We are launching a fund of funds as a regulated fund to be traded on different stock exchanges and public offerings. And one of the ways we're tokenizing that fund is that we're creating a separate entity that has interest in that fund. So the separate entity owns shares in that fund, and what's being tokenized is that separate entity. You kind of want to separate in today's world a little bit of what you're tokenizing and what's public, because then you limit liability going cross borders.
Oh, that's smart. Yes. David is saying, Alex, thanks. You said security tokens will be the beacon for the future. Can you see this replacing markets such as NYSE?
I don't think it would replace markets. I think it will markets will adapt to it. As you know, like there's already a number of broker accounts and of a huge volume of money going to the New York Stock Exchange and other key global exchanges. I don't think that you're going to have a churn of that. And that's kind of like the idea behind Ethereum continuing to be one of the most relevant plays. For you to move money away from that is really hard. But what you're certainly going to see is an evolution of those marketplaces incorporating security tokens. An example is NASDAQ. If you go to the NASDAQ site, They have a full-fledged solution from like 0 to 100 from the moment you issue to custody clearance and everything under the hood for a security token. So you're going to see a lot of these marketplaces incorporating security token technology.
Okay, great response. I think we have gotten through everybody, and then we just have a bunch of thank you messages for you. So you still have a few minutes. Is there anything you think we should leave this conversation having said?
I would say that we're now seeing, today is an interesting day. You know, I woke up here in California at 4:30 a.m. to do this chat and take a shower and be cleaned up. But we wake up to a massive meltdown of Bitcoin, and I think that we're going to certainly see a lot of market correlation of Bitcoin, security tokens, and other traditional assets in the market, like the S&P 500 or the price of Google. So I think that Bitcoin, security tokens, and a variety of other more traditional products are now being bundled together. Limit transfer. So I think we have I don't know if Meet ended up dropping, but I think we have a question here. Thanks, Alex. Is it possible to limit transfer of security tokens itself, or is it like bearer shares or bonds? It's what you suggest as an SPV wrapper. No, you can limit. So one of the things you can do is that you can white label. You can do KYC and AML into each individual person, and then white label it so that like only a number of people can transact that security token, or a number of wallets, not necessarily a number of people. Yeah, Mark Seasmore. Yeah, and always a pleasure. Really enjoy doing this. You have my information there. If you want to ping me on LinkedIn, it's Alex Nascimento, UCLA. You will find me on a black and white picture there. I'm happy to chat and happy to help in any way possible. All right. I think Meet dropped. I think now I'm running this show here. Happy to talk about the price of Bitcoin and where is it going. Please do. That's a good question. I don't know. My studies showed that there was a lot of resistance at 40,000. We personally, as a firm, placed a big order at 40,000. Now that it broke 38,000, I think the next resistance line is 30. That's certainly like things people were not calculating for. A little bit of no man's land now. I think we could hit 30, which would be a massive to the market, but this is not financial advice, and please do your own research. Competitors to ETH in general in the tokenization space. Competitors to ETH is an interesting thing. That I'm very bullish on Cardano. Disclosure here, I do have financial interest in the Cardano platform, but I think that they're certainly like looking at this. Tezos is one of my favorite blockchains. Shout out to the people at Tezos. And Meet, my microphone dropped. Alex, are you are on my own? Okay, I can be on my own here. Didn't think about being the host. I think Meet is a much better host, but I can do it. I think the market is waiting for Elon Musk's announcement. He has sold Tesla's stake already. Given that it has gone below their break-even point, he may have to consider fiduciary duty to Tesla. Yes, that is an interesting point of view. I wouldn't recommend you being a CEO of a public company and making statements like he does, but he's an innovator, and you got to give the guy props for innovating. So some people are, more edgy that way. David Wallace, Alex, we have a 1.2 billion real estate portfolio. We're thinking about We're thinking about tax-free exchange for security tokens and creating a marketplace to provide legal advice and advice-free exchanges. Yes, we do. Please ping me on LinkedIn or on my email, which is alex.nascimento@7ccinvestsingle.com. There's on the slide there, and I'm happy to chat. Jenny, I don't believe Tesla has sold. Elon said that via tweet 2 nights ago. Yeah, it's been an interesting roller coaster ride for everyone in crypto. It's interesting that people tie their investments decisions to Elon Musk. I think we live in the age of influencers. I would recommend you do your own research. So end the session now. Okay, fantastic. We are done with the session. I don't know how to end it here, but I'm just gonna close this